Once upon a time, deep in the heart of a quiet forest, there stood a lonely tower. It was tall and slender, with walls of stone that shimmered faintly beneath the light of the moon. This tower had no staircase curling up its sides, and no door that opened at its base. The only entrance was a small window at the very top, and behind that window lived a young girl whose name was Rapunzel. Rapunzel was no ordinary girl. She had hair as long as a golden river, strands that sparkled in the sunlight and glowed softly at dusk. Her hair was so long that when she let it tumble out of the window, it flowed downward, touching the grass far below. Yet despite this beauty, Rapunzel lived a life of quiet sorrow. Each morning, as the sun painted the forest in gentle shades of gold, Rapunzel would lean out of her window and sing. Her voice was as pure as a lullaby, so sweet and calming that birds gathered on the branches, butterflies danced in the air, and even the breeze seemed to hush so it could listen. But though the world outside her tower adored her songs, Rapunzel felt a deep longing inside her heart. "Oh," she whispered softly one morning, gazing toward the endless stretch of forest beyond. "If only I could walk among the flowers. If only I could feel the soft grass beneath my feet. If only I could be free." The tower had been her home for as long as she could remember. A woman, stern and watchful, came to visit her each day. To climb the tower, the woman would call out in a sharp voice, "Rapunzel! Rapunzel, let down your hair!" Rapunzel would obediently lower her golden braid, and the woman would climb up, step by step, until she reached the top. The woman never allowed Rapunzel to leave. She told her the world was too dangerous, too cruel, and that the tower was the only safe place. And though Rapunzel nodded politely, her heart ached for the freedom she had never known. Still, Rapunzel was gentle and kind. She sang to the birds, spoke softly to the stars, and let her dreams flutter like wings in her heart. She believed deep down that something magical was waiting for her, something that would change her life forever. One afternoon, as the forest bathed in warm sunlight, a young prince wandered through the woods. He was brave yet kind-hearted, and he often explored the forest, searching for beauty and wonder. As he rode his horse through a shaded glade, he heard something unusual, a voice soft and clear drifting through the trees. The prince stopped, his heart caught by the sound. "Who sings with such sweetness?" he whispered to himself. He dismounted, following the song through winding paths and rustling leaves, until he stood at the edge of the clearing. There, before him, rose the tall stone tower. High above, through the tiny window, a girl's voice carried like sunlight in the wind. He could not see her face, but her song touched his heart in a way he could not explain. Day after day, the prince returned, listening quietly from the shadows of the forest. He never wished to startle her, for her song felt like a gift he did not deserve. But one evening, as twilight painted the sky in shades of pink and silver, he saw something curious. A woman stood at the base of the tower. She looked up and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." From the window, a long braid of golden hair spilled down like a shining rope. The woman grasped it and climbed. The prince watched in amazement, realizing the secret. That is how one reaches the girl, he thought, by her golden hair. The next day, when the forest was quiet and the woman had gone, the prince stepped closer to the tower. His heart raced, but his voice was gentle as he called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel was startled, for the voice was different, softer, kinder. She hesitated, her heart trembling, but something within her whispered that she could trust this voice. Slowly, she lowered her braid. The prince climbed carefully, and soon he stood before her. Rapunzel's eyes widened in surprise. She had never seen anyone like him before, kind eyes, warm smile, and a presence that felt safe. "Do not be afraid," said the prince softly. "Your song led me here. I only wish to know you, to hear your voice, and to share my friendship." Rapunzel felt her fear melt away. She had spent her life in silence and solitude, and now here was someone who listened, someone who cared. They talked for hours, sharing dreams and laughter. She told him of the stars she longed to touch, of the flowers she dreamed of smelling, and of her wish to walk free upon the earth. Night after night, the prince returned. He brought small gifts, wildflowers, ripe fruit, and stories of the kingdom beyond the forest. He spoke of rivers that sparkled under the moonlight, gardens filled with roses, and skies so wide they seemed to embrace the world. Rapunzel listened with shining eyes, her heart swelling with hope. At last, one evening, the prince said, "Rapunzel, you are not meant to be a prisoner. You are meant to walk among the flowers, to see the stars without stone between you. Let us make a plan to set you free." The plan was simple but brave. One night, beneath the silver moon, Rapunzel tied her braid securely to the window frame. Her heart raced as she began to climb down, each step carrying her closer to the world she had only dreamed of. The prince stood below, arms ready to catch her if she slipped. When at last her feet touched the earth, Rapunzel gasped with wonder. "The ground," she whispered, kneeling to press her hands into the grass. "The flowers, the cool night air. It is more beautiful than I ever imagined." She twirled in delight, her golden hair swirling like a ribbon of light. For the first time, she felt truly alive. Hand in hand, she and the prince ran through the forest, their laughter echoing beneath the stars. The tower stood behind them, silent and cold, but Rapunzel did not look back. Together, they journeyed to the prince's kingdom. The people welcomed Rapunzel with warmth and joy, for they had heard of the mysterious girl with hair like sunshine and a voice like a lullaby. Rapunzel laughed, she danced, and she sang not from loneliness, but from joy. Her days were filled with new wonders, gardens blooming with roses, streams singing softly as they flowed, and skies that stretched endlessly above. She was no longer a lonely girl behind stone walls. She was free, and her smile was brighter than the moon. The prince and Rapunzel spent their days together in kindness and laughter. He admired her courage, and she cherished his friendship and love. The kingdom thrived with joy, and the people often said that when Rapunzel sang, even the stars paused to listen. And so, Rapunzel's escape was more than leaving a tower. It was escaping fear, loneliness, and doubt. She learned that courage, kindness, and hope could open the doors to freedom. Tonight, dear listener, as you close your eyes and drift into sleep, remember Rapunzel's journey. Remember that, like her, you hold a light within you, a light of courage, of dreams, and of endless possibilities. May your dreams tonight be filled with stars, with magical forests, and with adventures as bright as Rapunzel's smile. Good night, sweet dreamer.